she conceives, 7 times she throws the babies in the river Ganges. The ministers see all this. The ministers are concerned about the kingdom. The ministers always look for the safety of the kingdom, and hence they would like to have continuity of the king's dynasty. So every time a prince is born and is thrown into waters, the ministers could not accept. One day they called a meeting of the cabinet and invited Shantanu into it and asked him, what's the matter and how is it that every time a prince is born, your lady the queen throws her away into the waters. Shantanu expresses his promise, describes his promise. Then the ministers tell him very clearly, sorry my dear king, you have no personal life, you can't have anything personal like that. A king is for the kingdom, that's the rule. If you wish to have a personal life in priority to kingly duties, better get out of the throne. If you wish to be a king, to you the kingdom and the welfare of the citizens of the kingdom is foremost, everything else is secondary. So that is the Raja Dharma. If you wish to be in that throne, see, you have seen many movies also. A police officer, his own younger brother is a thief. Does he not do his duty? There is a fight at home. The mother says he is your brother. The wife says he is your brother. So many people say so many things to him. Do you accept him if he camouflages the whole case as a police officer? That's not dharma. So every role has its dharma. When you are in it, you have to do it. If you are not in it, yes, it's okay. Then the ministers told him, either you abdicate the throne, vacate the throne, and go with your lady and do what you like, we don't care. But being a king, you have a duty to give a prince to the kingdom. So that's how, when the 8th child was being thrown out, Shantanu had to stop her. When he stopped her, she said, I am sorry, our marital agreement is over. But nevertheless, I train this boy in all vidyas and give him back to you. That's how Bhishma comes out as one of the most outstanding characters in Mahabharata. So is the case of Rama. To him, his kingdom and his citizens are more important. The question says, should he neglect his children and wife for the sake of kingdom? The answer is yes. That is dharma. If you would like to take care of your wife and children like any other householder, you don't be on the throne. You can't be sitting in the throne and promote your personal affairs in priority to the feel of the kingdom, feel of the citizens. That's the impersonality of king initiates. A king initiate, or even a good king, cannot do that. Bharata, who is the ancestor, the founder of our race, Bharatiyas, he also did not give away his throne to his children because he found his children unfit. So can we say that he neglected his family? It's not neglecting the family. A king has to take care of the kingdom first. Personal life does not exist. People in public offices have no personal life. Please remember this. They should know that when they get into it. When you become an IAS or an IPS, you are briefed like that. Your family comes next. Society comes first. That's how they are briefed, because they are standing for thousands of beings, for their protection, for their welfare, for their growth. They can't think of their family. That's why you don't find these officers, if they are very conscious, sincere workers, you don't find them giving really so much time to their family. That's how people who are dedicated to public service, like the kings, like the administrators, to them the family is secondary. There is no doubt about it, there is no emotion about it, that is the dharma. Sita's Agni Pariksha was not what Rama wanted. It's another excellent truth that is expounded in that event. See, the soul imprisoned in the body, sought liberation, isn't it? So it was like, there are people who look for moksha, 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 not knowing what it is, of course. But in the case of Sita, she knows what it is. So she sought liberation from Lanka. Liberation from Lanka means liberation not only from the body of flesh and blood, liberation from the five senses also, and liberation from all the three qualities, because the qualities are the final bondage. Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas, they also bind you. So beyond that, you are called a liberated being. So in that state, the Lord doesn't say, you have to be with me. That's what Rama says when Sita comes. He tells her, Ravana is killed, you are now free, you can stay wherever you like. It requires tremendous culture to say such things. Only people who respect freedom of the other soul can say that. It's not automatic that she has to be with him again. It's not automatic that every liberated soul shall have to be with the divine, he can move around. He is liberated. So he says, I have liberated you as per your request. You can be with Vibhishana in the Lanka itself if you like this place. You can be with Bharata in Ayodhya if you like that. You can be with Lakshmana if you like it. You can be with my mothers if you like it. Wherever you wish to go, you can go, you are liberated. Because the choice has to be made by her, not by him. See, the divine has no choice. They don't choose one for the other. It is according to others' choice. Sita chose Rama, so he accepts. Ravana chose death from Rama, so he accepts it. So it's others' choice that they fulfill. So he gave that choice to the mother, that you can move anywhere you like. Then Sita thinks that Rama is suspecting of her character, and she herself asks Lakshmana to arrange for the fire. And the idea of her is, if Rama doesn't want her, she has no purpose in living. She would not like to. That's her commitment. She cannot live if Rama does not accept. So what is it that she wanted to do? Not to show that she is pure, but to get away. If you see very clearly, very carefully, if you read, she doesn't arrange for the fire to prove her case. She says, okay, you don't need me in that case, let me go. So to go in the presence of all that, she asked Lakshmana to arrange for the fire. On the fire, when the flames are aflame, she jumps into it, because she never wanted to have any other alternative. So it is the Lord of fire, Agni. It is he who speaks to Rama that she can't even be burnt by fire. She is so pure, she is only living for him. Then the Devas who are all gathered here, they also tell him, please, you have to accept her. Dasaratha, his father, is also pleased. He also praises Rama and Sita and Lakshmana in so many words. So the idea of Sita entering into the fire, Agni Pravesha, was to show her sole commitment for unity or integration with the Lord and nothing else. See, the great beings, they don't have to prove themselves. Only the shallow people have to think of proving themselves. What proof rose should give you? Its existence itself is a proof, its fragrance is a proof. If it is an artificial rose, then it has to gather some perfume to give you some illusion of a rose. So naturally pure people, they don't have to prove that they are pure. And Sita's effort was not to prove that she was pure. Her attempt was to unite with the universal soul. That's all.
Ramayana happened in Treta Yuga. Now we are in Kali Yuga. We understand that there was a lot of science developed at that time. After so many lakhs of years, how the epic continued its existence, though the science is delinked and again started developing.
The epic continues because the epic relates to the truth, and truth is eternal, indestructible, and cannot be wiped out by time. Only untruth is wiped out by time, truth is not, truth cannot be. Not only Ramayana, the story of any being who demonstrated truth, his story is preserved by time. The story of others is wiped out by time. So it's the work of time that it preserved the epic Ramayana and the scriptures, the first scripture on this planet. So it's the quality of truth that it survives eons of. As long this planet exists, Ramayana exists. This is the truth. Because it is full of the truth and the related dharmas relating to various ashramas. The rishi dharmas are there, the stately dharmas are there, brotherly dharmas are there, and marital dharmas are there. Name any dharma, it is there in Ramayana. And hence all these dharmas are Shashvata dharmas. So Shashvata dharmas are never wiped out by time, nor even time can wipe them out. Anything not eternal, not in tune with the truth, is the only thing that is wiped out. So the science, every time, when the science gets into the hands of the barbarians, then it destroys people, and through such destruction the science disappears. There was science not only at the time of Ramayana, there was science at the time of Mahabharata also. All those astras are no different from the missiles. They are even far more advanced. So it's all gone. Every time there is a misuse of science, abuse of science by those who are barbarians, the science disappears. That is how in the history we find many times science emerging and again disappearing, merging back into the truth. Now again science is emerging. Much depends as to how we use this science. If we use it for destruction, it disappears.
Master, can you explain the role of Shatrughna in Ramayana?
So that will be the last question. Now it is 5 to 12. Shatrughna's message in Ramayana is one of the most difficult messages. He is there, he is not there. Can we be like that in a society? We have the urge for recognition. We have the urge for being recognized. We would like to be an entity but not a non-entity, isn't it? It shows utmost simplicity. Unless a man is utmost simple, with all that knowledge he has, he is there, but he is not there. It's not easy. A little knowledge tries to pep you up and you want to show up. Shatrughna is not small compared to his brothers. All the four of them are equally accomplished. They are ordained with different duties. Shatrughna's quality is his utmost simplicity, that he cannot be recognized by people who are not profoundly good. Only profoundly good people, deeply good people only can recognize the existence of Shatrughna, because we mostly go by the greatness and we are carried away by the glitter of the greatness and we don't see the beauty of the silent goodness. That is Shatrughna. And then Shatrughna's situation is, he is the devotee of the devotees. Lakshmana is the devotee of the Lord. Bharata is the devotee of the Lord. To be devotee of the Lord is one thing. To be as much a devotee to a devotee. Bharata is the devotee of Rama and Shatrughna is devotee to Bharata. He is so devoted to Bharata. So to be devoted to someone who is a devotee That's where the entire Bhagavata Sampradaya is. It's not such a big thing to worship the Lord, to worship the devotee of the Lord. It requires greater humility, total lack of ahankara. Only such people can be a devotee to a devotee. That's what Hanuman also was. Every time Sugriva honors Rama but not Lakshmana. Hanuman makes haste to honor Lakshmana also because Lakshmana is a devotee of Rama. If a devotee of the Lord is not taken care of, the Lord doesn't look at him. Be sure. Because to the Lord, the devotee is dearer than anything. Isn't it? We know from various slokas and acts of the Lord that devotee is the dearest to the Lord. So if you are not attentive to the devotee, he doesn't care for you. So here is a case where the devotee is seen by his devotee as Lord himself. To see the Lord in the devotee. To see the Lord in the Lord is one thing, to see the Lord in devotee is another thing. So that's where Shatrugna stands always as a special. And it can be, his stature can be more and more understood if we can walk into depths of simplicity, not otherwise. Thank you. Thank you for the interest you have evinced in Ramayana. This way it is much better than my lecturing on a topic in Ramayana. So when I was coming here from the room at 11 o'clock, I thought, what should I speak on Ramayana because it's so vast, so huge. Then I tried to coax our sister Swarnalata. I wanted her to speak on Ramayana. She was very clear. And very clearly she said, no, Master, I will not. So then I thought, God, what should I speak on Ramayana? Then came the thought, let us have Ishtagosti. This is much more engaging. Thank you. मेधां मे इन्द्रो ददातु मेधां देवी सरस्वती मेधां मे अश्विना उभौ आधत्तां पुष्करस्रजाः आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमधुबलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्माः ते मयि सन्तु ओम शांति शांति शांति। ఎప్పుడు వస్తుంది అందులోంచి అన్న ఆపేద్దాం, అంత పెద్ద ఎండగా లేదు, అంతగా మహమ్మద్ లేకుండా నీకు పెట్టమంటే లేకపోతే novels given by Master E.K. relating and narrating the story of the ancient most one, the Sanatana, who came down as Lord Krishna, are of great speciality. I don't see any writings in the contemporary world which can give us such insight into the grand events that have happened just before and after the great war of Mahabharata. These books, that is Purana Purusha, Master E.K. gave the title in English to Purana Purusha as the World Teacher. This book is yet to be printed. The manuscript is being traced since 18 years for printing, not to be found till date. And then the book Music of the Soul or Mandrazala, and above all Purusha Medham, the man's sacrifice, and Krida Mayadu, the playful child, are the 4 of the 7 books that came through him. He conceived a plan to give a total view of the Lord as he came down as Krishna. He wanted to do it in 7 volumes. And he was recording as he received the information from higher circles, and he was himself very thorough with all the Puranas, Harivamsha, Bhagavata, Mahabharata, and his composition of these books is par excellent. If you read, for example, Purana Purusha, he would bring the presence of such great beings as Vedavyasa, Parashara, Satyavati Devi, Bhishma, Maitreya, Vasudeva, Sanasujata, and a host of others. These books directly give you the presence of the Lord's music of the soul. And in our busy schedule of activities, when I say busy schedule of activities, not our personal life activities, even in the World Teacher Trust, people are very, very actively engaged with so many things. It's a multi-phased activity that the World Teacher Trust carries out. And all are kept active. No one is allowed to rest. You always find that you haven't rested enough. That's the feeling in the morning. That's the feeling in the afternoon. Always you find at least some 15 minutes short of the rest. That's how the activities are all conceived. So in that busy schedule of varieties of service activities, ritualistic activities, writing activities, printing activities, dispensing of medicines activities, self-employment schemes, monthly magazines, whatnot. Amidst all this, please don't forget to read at least a few pages from either of these books which are printed. Master E.K. was getting so much inspired when he himself was writing them. He could not resist. The moment he writes in the night, next day in the afternoon, when I am out of lunch and siesta, he used to come down, make me sit, and listen to what he wrote last night. Not because he is glamoured of his teachings, because Master E.K. is one person who is just not glamoured of anything. In many things he is not, there is no equal to him. He has no glamour for the writings that came through him, for the divine acts that have happened through him, and much less he believes in propagating his own writings. But even such a person was so inspired when he received the writing in the night that he could not but resist to share it with me during the afternoon hours before I proceed to my office. Many times the writings are so inspiring that I have decided not to go to office in the afternoon and let the master completely narrate or read out what all he has written. Such a deep presence was coming even while we read together, and you can imagine what could have been the joy of the master when he received this information alone in the night hours. His style was, he used to look into a corner. He would either find the script over there running and dictate, or he would find the scenery over there, the flashback, and he used to describe the flashback because he is himself a very poetic writer. He was poetic. He was a poet and also carrying very high knowledge of Sanskrit and Telugu. So either a scenery was given to him like a flashback which he used to describe, or a script was running over there. He used to look there and he used to dictate to his followers. And my brother Shivashankar was one of those few youngsters who were around him to take such dictations. All his books were direct dictations. There is no writing, rewriting, and again correcting it. And he was never a scribe. He never wrote by himself. He was just dictating. So it is he who gave out for the Indians and also for the humanity first time in these 5,000 years the scheme of things. No doubt Madame Blavatsky externalized the hierarchy relating to Lord Maitreya and Maru Maharshi, Maharshi Devapi. That's all. She didn't mention about Jwalakul. She also did not know, or maybe she was not informed. We cannot say that she did not know. What she knew, we cannot say. She didn't give that information. It is Master E.K. who gave out the scheme of things that have happened 5,000 years ago, resulting in institution of a hierarchy of the masters of wisdom who would guide humanity into the path of yoga and save the humanity from the onslaught of Kali Yuga. There was a great effort at that time. And Krishna, the Lord himself, was giving the plan to all these masters. That Krishna was behind the hierarchy cannot be found in the books coming from Madame Blavatsky. How Lord Maitreya came to be as the world teacher, and what was the story of Lord Maitreya before he took to the office of the world teacher. Who inspired him? To whom was the knowledge given? And what is the specialty of Lord Maitreya? Why is he considered the world teacher? Such of those details you can only find in the three books, that is the world teacher, the music of the soul, Mandrajala, world teacher, Purana Purusha, music of the soul, Mandrajala, and man sacrifice, that is Purusha Medha. To relate ourselves to this great network of light, we need to regularly read these books. It is meant for us, not for Master Ike. Out of love and compassion for the fellow beings, certain divine secrets are given out by the teachers with the permission of the divine. So that's how in Purana Purusha, when you read about each of these characters, you can get related to them and you can feel their presence. That's how these books are living books and they continue to inspire. So these books therefore need to be studied by us in our groups. You can dedicate a Friday for reading these books in the night together. We don't need to make big commentaries. Just to study what Master said. Close your eyes for 15 minutes. Feel the persons relating to that day's description and visualize in your own way how these great lights are guiding our planet and guiding our humanity. So only to remind this to our group, I thought fit that we would do some kind of working with the book Purana Purusha. Vedavyasa, no, Maitreya, Sandipani, the teacher, the future teacher of Krishna, Akrura, and one Bruhaspati. They were the chief disciples of the then world teacher, Parasara. Parasara was known to be the world teacher during those times of Bhishma and the other contemporaries. He was an embodiment of light and a great inspirer, working for the light, and he gathered around him certain very deserving, sincere and effective students whom he trained in terms of yoga, in terms of Veda, in terms of astrology, in terms of Ayurveda, all sciences of wisdom. Maitreya was the Prince of Benares. His father, Divodasa, He prepared in the dynasty of Benares kings. There was a speciality. They were all great adepts of the science of Ayurveda. Ayurveda was their strength. Today, the biggest light for Ayurveda is Lord Maitreya. And the head of Ashtanga Yoga is Lord Maitreya. And the head of hierarchy is Lord Maitreya. So he trained in the Vedas and in the 6 Vedangas. So to understand Veda is that which is to be known, knowing which you don't have to know anything else. It is realization of Brahma. Further, there are 6 keys. They are called the 6 Vedas, out of which one is etymology, another is astrology, the third is the key relating to the time cycles, the fourth is grammar, the fifth is chandas, the sixth is the science of utterance. So if a student of Veda masters these keys and applies these keys upon himself, not upon the world, then the 6 layers in him are lifted up, the 6 centers are stimulated, made active, and he settles in the 7th. That's how Vedangas are considered very important for occult wisdom. Madame Blavatsky unlocked so much wisdom with the help of etymological key and astrological key and time key. She was given 3 keys. And stupendous wisdom came out with only 3 keys. And it has been the ancients' cherished desire that people should get into these keys and apply the related wisdom upon them. So that's how there was the practice of Vedangas. So the father, Divodasa, the king of Benares, he trained his son Maitreya in the Veda, in the Vedangas, and he has also made him to be a treasure for posterity of Ayurveda. Today, Ayurveda once again gains global recognition and acceptance, which is going to be the head behind the whole activity is Lord Maitreya. He is the treasure of Ayurveda, and Master says it as Ayurveda Nidhi. Not only that, the father also trained his son, that is Maitreya Maharshi, in all the fine arts, like music, dance, instrumental music, in all this. See, they were so hungry for the knowledge and the related arts, they are not so puny in their thinking as we do today. Imagine the father, who is already a king of a province, Benares, training his son in Vedas, in Vedangas, in Ayurveda, and in all the fine arts. So you can imagine that Lord Maitreya can sing and play the music of the flute like the Lord himself. And Maitreya gained expertise in all these branches of wisdom. And Maitreya was the only son to the king Divodasa, and yet the king knew that there is a great light in Himalaya by name Parashara. Parashara is the father of Vedavyasa. Since most of us are familiar with Vedavyasa, the name of Vedavyasa, we have to say that he is father of Parashara. But to present him the other way is more appropriate. Vedavyasa is the son of Parashara. Parasharatmajam vande sukatatam taponidhim. They have, Parashara belongs to a great hierarchy, a family hierarchy, which is described very clearly in one sloka. Vyasam Vasishtanaktaram Shakte Potram Akalmasham Parasharatmajam Vande Sukatatam Taponidhim. That's the only one family where you find the same degree of enlightenment continuing up to the 5th generation. Vasishta, the great seer of the great bear. When you see great bear, you find a square, 4 stars, and a tail with 3 stars. The middle star is the solar system, whose energy is called Vasishta. And Vasishta exists in us in the heart center. He is one of the Saptarshis, the 7 seers of the universe. There are 7 seers in the universe that preside over all the principles of 7. The first principle is called Atri. It is in Sahasrara. The second principle is called Bhrugu. He is in Ajna. The third principle is called Angiras. He is in the throat center. The fourth principle is called Vasishta. He is in the heart center. The fifth principle is called Pulasya. That is in the solar plexus. The sixth principle is called Pulaha. It is in the sixth center called sacral center or Swadhisthana. And then in the seventh center there is a seer called Kratu. So these are the 7 seers, of which Vasishta forms the central theme. There are 3 seers above and 3 seers below, making in all the 7 seers. So that's how the heart principle is the fulcrum for the entire system. And to Vasishta was born another great seer called Shakti. And to Shakti was born Parashara. And to Parashara was born Vedavyasa. And to Vedavyasa was born Sukha. And they are all eternally existing adepts in the universe. None of these 5 today exist in our planetary system. They have taken to higher systems, and yet they guide us from over there. So Parashara was himself a great being, giving the wisdom of the Veda, staying in the cave temples of Himalayas. So the king of Benares, Divodas, he decided to send his only son to Parashara so that his son becomes complete in terms of wisdom. Maitreya, having taken to the ashram of Parashara, has done excellent service to the teacher. The Eastern system believes serving the teacher. As much as you serve the teacher, so much the teacher gets oriented to you and the wisdom flows into you. That's how Maitreya served Parasara, the teacher in Himalayas, and in the presence of Parasara, Lord Maitreya became a Siddha in the Eightfold Path of Yoga. So that's how we have understood that those who are inclined to learn the process of delinking with the material world, not just feeling the illusion of the material world. The Vairagya need not necessarily be a process of delinking, it is a mental attitude. Many Brahmajnanis, as I explained to you yesterday, I think, no, not here, somewhere else. Brahmajnani like Thotapari was disturbed when his leg slipped in the river Ganges, while Ramakrishna did not get disturbed, because Ramakrishna is already in the state of delinking from the body. Brahmajnani Thotapuri was frequently getting irritated, and it was not the case with Ramakrishna. Likewise, Tantrika Jnani Brahmani also was exhibiting certain peculiarities of personality which Ramakrishna was not exhibiting. The difference between a yogi and the others is the yogi is very neutral in relation to all material phenomena. He is neither attracted nor is he repulsive to it. A Brahmajnani or a sannyasi or a theist, he develops a symptom, I would say it's a symptom. He develops a symptom of aversion or repulsion to all that which is material and which is not the right way to progress. So yoga should be seen as a path of neutrality through which you ascend from the body and settle yourself in the body of light. And for that process there is a way of life that each student shall have to adopt to. That way of life I have been giving the hints coming from Bhagavad Gita and also from the yoga of Patanjali. Patanjali speaks of the 5 initial regulations that we have to adopt to in our daily life. One is ahimsa. Ahimsa means harmlessness. This has to be practiced in the mental plane, in the emotional plane, and in the physical plane. Physically you may not hurt, but emotionally you can hurt people. Suppose you don't talk to your wife for days together. You haven't hurt her physically, but you are punishing in a different way and she feels the hurt. Like that, there are emotional ways of hurting. You can hurt people mentally also. So mental, emotional, physical harmlessness is the first step. If you accomplish this step, the people are generally friendly with you. Normally in life, we lose friends. As we progress in life, we keep on losing friends, and there are only few occasions where an enemy turned out to be a friend to you in life. How many events you have where a person who just doesn't like you or who hates you turns in your favor and becomes friendly to you? It's very rare. But it is very common that we keep losing friends. Why? Because of the instinct of himsa in us. When you carry the himsa pravritti in you, people run away from you. People get away from you. They don't wish to be anywhere near you. They keep a respectable distance. Which animal would be around a tiger? Animals can be around a lion when they know that the lion is not hungry. For the tiger, it's not the case. So likewise, himsa is the first thing to be dropped from our behavior. It should be taken as a consecration for some years. It should become part of our being. Then comes non-manipulative speeches. The whole world is nothing but one trying to manipulate the other. The manipulative are manipulated. That's the law. You manipulate, you are manipulated. Because the theory, the whole creation runs by one simple theory of boomerang. Whatever emanates from you gets into the world, it comes back to you with the same vigor and same quality. Just when we say for the new year, Happy New Year to you, then you get back, same to you. So each one wishes the other Happy New Year and the other says same to you. So whatever you wish the other, the same thing will come back to you. Whatever you do to the other, the same thing will come back to you. Shakuni manipulated and hence he got manipulated. All the stories in the scriptures only give the message of non-manipulativeness. And in the worldly affairs, people gain through manipulation. Because this world itself is a distorted world. So in a distorted world, people try to manipulate as much as you can. The best manipulator is generally the best gainer only for the moment. As much as he gains, so much he loses. If you practice non-manipulativeness, which is given as Satya Bhashana, it helps you to link up the inner being with the outer being. You can build a bridge between the insider and the outsider. Otherwise, you would not have the right link with the insider. Please remember, there is this subjective side of your being and objective side of your being. Yoga is integration of the objective side of the being, the outsider, with the insider. And then the insider integrating with the divine. Then yoga is complete. The outsider is Kshara Purusha. Life after life he is dissolved and he rebuilds it. Our lives, the status in the life, the caste you belong, the nation you belong, the state you belong, the language you speak, these are all limited only to this life. But as the soul, the insider, you have a bigger journey. So the outsider remains only for a very temporary period. So he is the Kshara Purusha, the destructible one. He should integrate with the indestructible one, that is Akshara Purusha. And then this Akshara Purusha shall have to integrate with Purushottama. That's how these are the three steps of integration in yoga. The first step of integration is between the outsider and the insider of the man. The subjective side of man and the objective side of man cannot be linked up unless man learns to be non-manipulative in his speeches. He may manipulate the whole world to give a view that he is a saintly person, but then inside there is no contact. There is no inner contact. There is no inner voice guiding. There is no conscience informing him, advising him and suggesting him the ways of work that have to be done, because he has remained all the time with the manipulative speech. So the consequence of himsa is you lose people and you are continuously hurt. Because you have hurt, the hurt comes back to you. If you have hurt in the mental plane, the hurt comes back to you at the mental plane. If you have hurt at emotional plane, the hurt comes back to you in the emotional plane. If you have physically hurt, be ready for another physical hurt coming to you. On the way to Tapovan, if you have hit someone very badly on the road, when you come out of Tapovan, you will receive it back. It is so simple in creation. Whatever you sow, you reap. So whatever emanates from you. So ahimsa is to be practiced so that you don't have the hurt feeling. The seers are not hurt because they haven't hurt anyone. Even if people try to hurt them, the hurt goes back to them. People try to hurt Krishna, the hurt went back to them. Isn't it? We don't have to go up to Krishna. There are so many yogis who demonstrated ahimsa, and consequently the attempt of any himsa on such persons had a boomeranging effect. So we should know the value of ahimsa. Likewise, value of non-manipulative speech. You say something, but you have something else in your mind. You have a hidden agenda. You speak nicely, but you don't really mean it because you want to curry the favor of the other. You speak something before a person, and you speak something else behind the person. Such persons cannot have an inner contact. They may claim to have contacted the divine, they may have claimed to have contacted the masters of wisdom, but this is all a kind of illusion in which they live, and gradually through their acts it will be revealed that they don't have the right contact. Because the more and more you walk into the master consciousness, less and less mistakes you do. Please remember the statement of Master Maurya: master consciousness cannot make mistakes. If frequently mistakes are happening through us, it means we are very far from it. So this ability to link up with the antakarana sarira, which is where the insider lives, in bahikaranas, that is objective mind and senses and the body, all human beings live. It's not such a big thing. But this objective mind shall have to relate to the subjective mind, and the bridge, the highway to that internal man is the word and utterance of the word. Try to utter without a view to manipulate. Try to utter without a view to hurt. That's why Satyam Vada, Priyam Vada. Isn't it? You have to speak the truth and you have to speak it pleasantly. Don't speak truth unpleasantly because it hurts and it has consequences. Don't speak untruth pleasantly. That's what generally people do in the world. Oh, you spoke so well. Like that we say. But behind his back, it's all bullshit. Like that we speak. Don't we do such thing? As long as we do that, remember it is becoming costly to you. See, flattery or praise is not expected. If you do it genuinely. Don't do it otherwise. People who flatter for nothing on the face, behind their back they speak other things. That means they have lost the opportunity to link up to the inner. That's the consequence. Do we know that? Do we know that when we do such irresponsible speeches? We should know. Then we'll be more careful. Because we are all trying to contact the inner, and only the inner can contact the divine. Please remember. The outsider cannot contact the divine. Be sure about it. The outsider shall have to link up with the insider. The insider only has the ability to contact the divine. That's why Antarmukha Samaradhya Bahirmukha Sudurlabha. That's how Lalita Sahasranama says. It's just impossible by outward acts. Only through Antarmukha, turning inward, you can make the real worship of the deity, of the mother, of the Lord, of the teacher. So that's where the importance of making non-manipulative speeches. In the morning I gave you the regulations, but now I give you the consequences of not following them. And mostly people are manipulated because they keep manipulating. And then brahmacharya is also in all the three planes. Celibacy is mental, emotional and physical. Celibacy is not just physical. People who practice celibacy are the ones who gain better brain power. The brain shines forth, the medhas is improved, they are very energetic and are capable of carrying out many acts without tiresomeness, because yoga practice demands quite a continuity of work for long years to come. Satu dirghakala nairantarya satkar asevito dhrudha bhumihi. That is how Patanjali says. It has to be for long time. You have to put as many O's as possible. Long. It has to be for long time. And it should not suffer discontinuity, nairantarya. So you have to practice in that manner the celibacy, which is, as I said in the morning, a regulated life in relation to sex. That's all. And not to think of sex at other times. That way you remain active, energetic, and you cannot be tired out easily. We all know that Master Ike was not feeling tiresome even when he works at the rate of 18 hours a day. What is the secret? The secret is the power of celibacy. That's all. A celibate has that energy. Because when you have sexual thought, even an emotion, you need not have sexual act. Sexual thought itself dissipates your energy. That's the reason why for a yoga student sex regulation is given. And then thieving. If you keep thieving, you keep losing. Please remember. All that you gain through acts of thieving are only to be lost. If you don't have the instinct to thieve, the most valuable things will come and stay with you. See, in creation, the pure and valuable articles, properties, they come to a person who doesn't have thieving instinct. That is the secret of having property or wealth which gives you joy but not worry. There are many millionaires who are not happy. Their millions don't help them to be happy. Many propertied people are also worried. Their properties don't give them the joy. But then there are yogis who have such valuable things around all the time, like Janaka. Effortlessly the valuable things come up to him and stay with him. It happens only to those who can work out the lack of thieving instinct, asteya. By your skill of thieving, if you keep accumulating property, the consequences are two. You tend to lose it. Whatever Ravana gained, he had to lose. Whatever Duryodhana gained, he had to lose. Whatever Kamsa gained, he had to lose. It's not an eternal joy, and they don't stay with him. That's number one. The second aspect is, even if they stay, they cause worry. Ill-gotten property continuously gives you worry. It's better that you don't have it. It's like living amidst snakes. That's how the scriptures speak. If you thieve something, it has a consequence. There are stories in Mahabharata about the consequences of thieving. So if you know these consequences, you are rather afraid to thieve. And you would gradually fall into the practice of living by whatever is given to you, by the life. Yadrucha labha santustav. This is how Krishna puts it. Whatever life gives you, accept it with pleasure, live with it in contentment. The more and more there is the absence of thieving instinct in you, more and more splendorous things come up to you without much effort. This is the secret of life. You would see in some lives, some persons get so many things without much effort. And there are others who do so much of effort, but they don't get anything. And even if they get, they would only spoil them in their culture. So that's the consequence of the thieving instinct. And for the ones who have practiced aparigraha, they are not accumulating any more karma. Agami karma comes from accepting obligations of others for nothing. If you have served the other, and as a consequence you receive something, and what you receive is not more than the value of what you have done, you are safe. If you take more than what you give, you get indebted. So this process of indebting continues for lives, and you would be more and more bound by the obligations you keep receiving. That's why the seers, the yogis, they don't receive obligations. They keep giving obligations. That's what Krishna says to Arjuna, don't think I am obliged to you. I am not obliged to anything in these three worlds, yet I do. That is the status of a yogi. Yogi is not obliged because he doesn't receive obligations. The comfort of obligation is only apparent, and in course of time it will start giving you discomfort. In this sense, you are more and more bound in agami karma. These are the reasons behind these 5 practices suggested by Patanjali. If you make these 5 practices, internally you are clean. Your psyche is clean. What is the cleanliness of a psyche? A psyche that does not worry, a psyche that has no fear, a psyche that is not easily irritated and angered, a psyche that has no hate, and a psyche which cannot be illusioned, a psyche which cannot be tempted. All those negative emotions, they are out of your mind, then the mind is called clean. See, outward cleanliness is one thing, inward cleanliness is another thing. All orthodoxy which we see in our country, or the orthodoxy of any religion, you find people outwardly excessively fussy about cleanliness. But inside they are full of fears, full of anxieties, full of anger. An orthodox man is generally angry. Isn't it? And he is generally restless. That means his inside is not clean, outside is clean. Medipandu చూడ మేలిమై ఉండును పొట్ట విప్పి చూడ పురుగులుండు కదా. That's how outward beauty, outward cleanliness is nothing if we have an insight of things. Inner cleanliness is important. That's why Patanjali straightaway gives us regulations where we start cleaning inside. Then you have no fear. Today, the major negative energy that rules humanity is fear. Fear of future, sense of security, fear of tomorrow, fear of family, fear of vocation, fear of health, fear of this, fear of that, and fear of death. This is how we are immersed in the energy of fear. You don't get into these energies if you practice all these five. Though it is late, better we start with the fundamentals, so that we clean up our mind with all these negative emotions. As long as you entertain the negative emotions in your mind, don't get yourself illusioned that you are progressing in the path of yoga. There is no yoga unless you have crossed the negative emotions. And hence these five regulations. For such a person, the inside is clean. For him, outside cleanliness is effortless. Such is Saucha. The one who is clean inside, he naturally would have a cleanly habit outside also. Because it is the inside that guides the outside. It is the inside that makes you angry, isn't it? It is the inside that makes you frightened. It is the inside that makes you irritant. So it is the inside always pushing the outside. Now inside is clean, so outside also it manifests its cleanliness. That is what Madame Blavatsky says, a clean mind. So where is she starting yoga? With a clean mind. So without clean mind there is no yoga. And that clean mind can come to you with these five regulations. So when you are clean inside and clean outside, joy is your property. Suchi Saucha Santosha. People want to be joyful. How can you be joyful? Someone asked a person, how can we be joyful? Then the answer is, be joyful. Yeah, you don't know how to be, you want to be joyful, but you cannot be joyful. So that cannot be an answer. Patanjali gives a scientific answer to be joyful. Sri Krishna has been joyful all the time. Isn't it? He is the best example for anything. And there are other examples also. And Master Jwalkol says, when he is asked about what do you say about joy, he says, joy is a special wisdom. Wisdom is knowledge transformed into action. We may be knowing 1,000 things, but if we don't adapt to that which we know as the right way of living, then it does not transform itself into wisdom and live with you. It's not helpful to you. Knowledge is never helpful unless it is assimilated as wisdom in you. So joy becomes your property only if you have carried out these regulations. Otherwise there is no joy. You would have all the negative emotions. That's why in the Niyama step, Suchi Saucha Santosha, says. A joyful mind, which is a clean mind, which keeps the internal system clean, external system clean, and there is a good communication between the subjective consciousness and objective consciousness. That means the objective can respond to subjective at will. So in the 8th step he speaks of the joy of a clean mind. Only that mind, please remember, only that mind has the ability to read and comprehend scriptures. Not all can read scriptures or understand. This is for sure. That's why the Easterns never believing touching the scriptures unless these practices are made. Reading books will confuse you because already you are an impure vessel and you put the knowledge in that impure vessel of mind, so the whole thing becomes such a distasteful substance which is neither useful to you nor are you useful to the world, and you are worse off than a normal worldly man. This is what I see today all over the globe. People who read Walku's writings, Madame Blavatsky's writings, they start thinking that from tomorrow this will be like this. Information is not experience. Can information be experience? I inform you about 16 dishes of tasty food. Do you experience it just by listening? Or if you read all the 16 items, do you experience it? So books cannot be read and understood and assimilated and experienced. That's the problem of the West. And if we tell them so, they get offended. I tell them, it is too premature for you to touch any book of any master of wisdom. If I say so, they feel offended. But I know there is not a single person in all these continents that I have roamed that have really understood anything about these books. They are there. But they are only for people who have gained clean mind. For others it is a fashion. It's a glamour. You can try to be something special among your community, but your life itself is in doldrums. You don't have a settled life, a harmonious life, you have no clean mind, you speak of big things. What's the use? So reading of books and comprehending them comes as the 9th step in yoga. So don't be in a hurry to read. Have a clean mind. If you wish to read, read in the presence of someone who has attained that status. That's the reason why, till date, in Naimisharanya, the seer Sutta is made to explain the scriptures eternally to Shaunaka and the rest of the community. All our Puranas is a catechism between Shaunaka and Sutta keeps on explaining. Why should Maitreya learn things under Parashara? No one can learn by himself unless he has cleaned himself through a regular practice of yoga. So that's where after Suchi Saucha Santosha, there is the 9th step of Swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means self-study. Self-study means, people understand self-study is I study at my home by myself. That's not self-study. Self-study is a study of the self. You must study your story in the scripture. It is all about you only. The whole Bhagavad Gita speaks of you only. The Lord speaks of the problems of the man. The whole Bhagavata is such. Mahabharata is such. Upanishads are meant for that. You are a character in that book. You are studying your own self in it. And you get the clues from the book. So that is how self-study is. Swadhyaya should be part of your life at that point. And in anything that you study, you have to see how this is relevant to me, where am I in relation to this concept, how am I to assimilate this and integrate this wisdom into my daily life. This kind of study. And this self-study includes the question, who am I? That is self-study. Nenevaru, who am I? Where from have I come? These are the fundamental questions about which the students are made to conduct penance in the ashram of Kuthumi. See, Devapi Maharshi is also called Kuthumi because he always asks his students, Kutoham, Kutoham, Kutoham. So Kutoham Asmi has become Kuthumi. So kutoha must be, where from have I come? What is the origin? And how am I as original? Am I human? Am I a Brahmin? Am I an Andhra? Am I Parvati Kumar? These are all the attributes relating to me. Who am I? And where from have I come? What am I to do? These are the fundamental questions for self-study. That is Swadhyaya. That's the 9th step. While you keep searching and trying to find out the nature of the self through study and through contemplation, you are asked to look at the whole world as Ishvara only. All that surrounds you with the forms and with related names, every form has a name. So the creation appears as a phenomena of form and name, Nama Rupatmaka Jagat. So behind the layer of the name and the form, there is Ishvara. That is what is called Ishvara Pranidhanani. Surrender to the Ishvara in all the forms and keep looking to Ishvara in all that is surrounding you. That is the way to find the Ishvara in you, which is your origin. That's how the 10th step is given in yoga. And Bhagavata starts just over there. Then you can see how advanced scripture is Bhagavata. Bhagavata starts with the statement, Vishwam Vishnuhu. Vishwambu Vishnundu Vishnundu kantenu veremiyunu ledu. This is all Vishnu. This is all Ishvara in varieties of forms and varieties of names. But behind every form and name there is only Ishvara. This understanding is important in the path of yoga. That's how you cover the first 10 fundamental steps of yoga, by which your 5 organs of action and 5 sense organs, the Dashendriyas, orient towards the inner being, the subjective mind. Then you have a very stable and comfortable mind. Not otherwise. People are not stable in their mind. They are very unstable, very inconsistent, and they are not at comfort with their mind. Why? Because all these regulations are not part of their life. Patanjali speaks of asana, and including Bailey, she makes a wrong translation of asana. There are many misunderstandings in the West about the Eastern wisdom. Asana is not a physical posture in the 3rd step of yoga. Sthira Sukham Asanam does not relate to a stable, comfortable posture of sitting. That's how every non-yogic person would describe. You see the books written on yoga. Not all can find the true meaning of Sthira Sukham Asanam, the 3rd step of asana. It is stable and comfortable mental state of being. So that is your Ekadasha Indriya. The mind which is unaffected by the 5 limbs of the body, the mind that is unaffected by the 5 senses, is the 11th one which can be applied upon. So the 3rd step of asana relates to stable and comfortable mind regardless situations, regardless place, regardless time. Such a mind is the mind which is fit to meditate. So what is the whole noise about meditation? There is such a huge noise happening on the planet about meditation. What meditation? If you ask him, do you have these 11 qualities? Invariably he speaks a lie. But you stay with him for 7 days, you find what it is with him. Is he irritant or not, you would know. Is he unstable or not, you would know. Is he inconsistent or not, you would know. Has he anxiety or not, you would know. Has he fear or not, you would know. The proof of the pudding, fill it up, is in its eating. You may say so many good things about the pudding, but ultimately when you eat it, you know whether it is a good thing or not. Likewise, a stable and comfortable mind is the fit instrument to apply upon pranayama, which is the step of getting inside the insider. Please remember, pranayama is not breathing. We will come to it tomorrow, because we have a cultural program. We also have a good habit of a pravachana after the prayer. The pravachana is agreed to be conducted up to 7:30. So we have covered 3 steps of yoga, and we very clearly know where we stand in relation to these steps. The only thing is, let us know what it is so that we know how methodically we should start journeying on the path of yoga. You don't have to tell others, I don't have this, I don't have this. We know it clearly what we have, what we don't have. Then quietly pick up one by one and then start working with it. That's the best way. If you start working with one and accomplish it, you have the necessary strength to pick up the second, to pick up the third, to pick up the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, eighth, ninth, and the 10th. So let it happen. Even if it takes 10 lives, it is worth it. Because you know how many times we are born in this human body. According to Garuda Purana, we keep taking to human form as many as 2.1 million times, 21 lakhs. Where is the hurry? Even if it is 10 lives, it is already a big progress, a very fast progress. So don't jump over the fundamentals. If you jump over the fundamentals, you haven't made the foundation. When you have not made the foundation, all your effort to build a superstructure is a waste. It is foolish. So that is how we have to understand the systematized path of yoga. That is why yoga is said to be a science. There is nothing mystical about it. It's full of science and full of practice. And there is no hurry. Make haste slowly. That is how Master Jwalkul puts it. Make haste slowly. నెమ్మదిగా తొందరపడమన్నారు. So set a pace and keep working in a humble manner. Don't be anxious to show up. Mostly we show up our ignorance only, nothing else. Contain yourself, try to get inside and see what we have and what we don't have in relation to these regulations, and see what we can bring into our life. Then we get into pranayama, which I will explain tomorrow. Thank you.